This is an audiobook of Living by Faith, a compilation of the writings of E.J. Waggoner and A.T. Jones. Chapter 11. Desperately Wicked. Quite likely we should be offended and shocked if any of our friends were to tell us that we were desperately wicked persons, or if someone should represent us as such to the public. We know some people who are wicked, perhaps some of whom we consider desperately wicked, and we have read of such persons in history and in the accounts of crime which fills the columns of the newspapers, and we would not wish to be classed with them. We belong to the respectable class of people, that class who are not just as good as they might be, but who do not do anything very bad. It would certainly be a gross lapel to point us out as desperately wicked. Would it? Let us look up this matter a little. The Lord has said something on the point, and He does not label people, but tells everyone the exact truth. We turn to the book of Jeremiah and read, "The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked." Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 9. Whose heart is it? There are no particular persons specified in this statement. Its application is general. It means your heart and mine. Neither does it say the heart may become deceitful and desperately wicked, but is so. There's no getting around it. The Lord says our hearts are deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. No matter about our respectability and standing in society, if the human heart rules within us, we are desperately wicked. And it is only because our hearts are so deceitful that we do not realize the fact. Yes, there is murder there. There is adultery, there is theft, there is blasphemy. There is that dreadful crime which shocked us as we read it in the paper, and which sent a man to the gallows. There is everything of which lawless men are guilty, and which is contrary to the 10 Commandments. The Lord says so, for He says, "The carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be." Romans chapter 8 verse 7. To how much of the law of God is the carnal mind not subject? Can it be subject to part of that law and not subject to the remaining part? Certainly that could not be. The heart must either be subject to the law in its entirety or not subject to it. And the carnal heart, as the text declares, is not subject to the law of God. This carnal nature is the nature we get by birth, and this nature we must retain, no matter what our station and occupation among men, until we allow the Lord to transform our hearts by the power of His grace. And therefore every person in whom this natural or carnal heart exists is at enmity with every precept of the divine law. He is not only at enmity with the command which says, "Thou shalt not covet," as very respectable persons can be, but he is also not in harmony with those commands which say, "Thou shalt not kill," and "Thou shalt not commit adultery." He may not feel the enmity stirring up to him to commit some shocking deed, but nevertheless it is there. Do we know, even the best of us, what is in our hearts? How often do circumstances discover the evils of which we do not dream? Let our natures become suddenly ruffled, and words and deeds spring forth which cause us surprise and shame. Men do not start out in life to become murderers or adulterers or embezzlers. Such ones would be horrified if told at the outset to what the developments of later years would bring them. Their nature was the same as ours, yet the evil deeds were there. There is no use denying what the Lord tells us. If mere respectability could decide the question, the devil would have the advantage of us, for he is transformed into an angel of light, 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 14, which power we do not possess. None of us can compete with the devil in point of a good appearance. The Lord sees us just as we are, and the sooner we see ourselves as He sees us, the better. When we become convinced that we are really desperately wicked, we shall see the necessity of getting rid of our inherited natures altogether. Instead of trying to make them presentable to God by some efforts at patching up, we shall be ready to accept the new heart and new nature which God gives us on condition of perfect submission to Him, even the nature of Jesus Christ, who dwells in the heart by faith. We shall see also that the apostle told the truth when he said, Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. For thou that judgest does the same things. Romans chapter 2 verse 1. The germs which developed, and so suddenly, into the evil deeds which we condemn in others, are in our own natural hearts, in the enmity which such hearts have to the law of God. When we have the nature of Christ, we shall be on this point as Michael the archangel, who against Satan himself would not bring a railing accusation. Jude 9. It is for us to choose between a nature that is desperately wicked and one that is infinitely good.